From pop culture to politics, this is the Michael Medved Show.
And another great day, another great week, in fact, in this greatest nation on God's green earth. It is a beginning of the next 250 years after the big and spectacular and very moving celebrations over the weekend for the 3rd and the 4th. And today we just passed the 5th of July. But all of that going on is being upstaged by a controversy involving the World Cup, where President Trump became personally involved. The New York Times reporting, as everybody else is, President Trump acknowledged earlier today that he had asked the head of World Soccer's governing body for the review that ultimately led to the remarkable reversal of a U.S. player's one-game suspension at the World Cup. Mr. Trump said he disagreed with the decision of the referee to issue a red card to the player that would have kept him from participating on tonight's big match between the United States and Belgium. And yes, Belgium is considered, it's no longer a world power in terms of an empire or military potential, but it is a first-class soccer competitor. And so the meeting on the match between the United States and Belgium this evening, which will help to decide whether there is a future for the U.S. in the competition for the World Cup, that is a very big deal. Mr. Trump said that he discussed the decision about the red card for the American player. He discussed that decision directly regarding Folarin Balogun. That would have caused him to miss today's knockout match against Belgium. And he called soccer leaders to object. That wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction, Mr. Trump told reporters in the Oval Office. So this is another, I think it's a first, when an American president has gotten directly involved in basically qualifications to participate in a soccer match in the group of 16 in the World Cup. In any event, there is also more today about the Wall Street Journal reports on the annual financial disclosure released last week by President Trump and his family. That disclosure revealed that during the first year of his second term, his personal financial advisors made more than 21,000 securities trades. And many of those trades, it's 21,000 transactions. That's busy. That's several transactions every day. Many involved companies directly affected by White House policies. Given the fact that tariffs have been such a big part of President Trump's focus and his priorities as president, well, of course, a lot of those security trades are going to involve companies that are affected by tariff policy and many other kinds of policy decisions or thrusts or focuses. On the same day, the administration announced its AI action plan back in July of last year. Trump's advisors purchased between $1 million and $5 million in stock in each of 6 tech companies that work with AI: Amazon, Apple, Broadcom, Meta, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. The advisors also sold stock hundreds of times in the days following the announcement of Liberation Day tariffs in April and made $327 stock purchases on April 8th. The day before, Trump announced broad pauses to the tariff program. On April 9th, Trump wrote, "This is a great time to buy," all in capitals and 3 exclamation points. This was posted on his Truth Social account less than 4 hours before announcing the pauses. "I don't get involved in my personal, we have funds that run my money," Trump said Wednesday. But guess what? It's still his money. There is also this, and it's very disturbing because the news about the massive funeral procession for Iran's slain supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, that got underway today in Tehran as huge crowds of mourners gathered. Notably absent, however, is Khamenei's son and his successor as supreme leader of Iran, who has still not appeared in public, has not participated in any public way with the ongoing negotiations about the memorandum of understanding that is supposed to lead to at least a ceasefire and maybe a peace settlement in Iran with the United States. But the new supreme leader, Motaja Khamenei, he has not been seen at all. And he has not appeared in public since his father's killing in late February. The New York Times is reporting tens of thousands of mourners, including senior Iranian officials, packed Tehran on Sunday, yesterday, for funeral prayers for the supreme leader, the slain supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as crowds chanted calls for revenge. That's not good with a nation of 93 million people. The conspicuously absent was Khamenei's son and successor, Mojtaba Khamenei, who has not been seen in public since succeeding his father, who was killed at the onset of the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran in late February. His absence has become a point of scrutiny in a political system where public appearances by senior figures often carry symbolic weight and are carefully choreographed to project authority and stability. It has fueled questions about his health, of Mojtaba Khamenei, and about the country's internal political dynamics, particularly at a moment of heightened regional tension and uncertainty over Iran's political future. Khamenei's brothers were among those in attendance for the second day of mourning, according to footage broadcast on state media. But the new supreme leader himself has been hiding in a bunker, and access to and communication with him has been limited. He is thought to have been severely injured in the same strikes that killed his father when the United States and Israel bombed the family's compound on the first day of the war, February 28th. There is more on this and the beginning of a big new FBI investigation involving 260 investigative analysts. What do you think they're investigating? You'll be amazed, maybe appalled. We will get to that and more coming up on the Medved Show.
And we're live on match day as Doug reaches for a buffalo wing. He's got it! Oh, and he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! What a finish! There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi.
And on the Michael Medved show, I mentioned a big new investigation by the FBI. It's not actually new. It's an investigation of something that has been investigated and litigated and discussed and analyzed and probed with tremendous intensity for 6 or 7 years. We're talking about the FBI leadership has now directed 260 investigative analysts and operations specialists from field offices across the country. They're all being sent to Fulton County, Georgia. Why? To examine records from the 2020 presidential election. That being the presidential election, of course, that Joe Biden won and Donald Trump lost. But according to an internal memo obtained by reporters, each analyst is expected to review 708 records before a July 17th deadline, working overtime and on weekends and holidays as necessary. The idea is to build a case. A U.S. official familiar with the situation told MS Now, look at associations between people. Look into their social media, their business activity, their travel, their contact with other investigative subjects. They are trying to build a case. What they're trying to do is see if there is any basis to prosecute people who were involved in counting the votes or computing the results of the election in Fulton County, Georgia. The thing that's so frustrating about this entire situation is you're taking people away from other things that are very dangerous for the country, including terrorist operations, the revenge of, for instance, let's say some of those people in Iran who are screaming at funeral processions for revenge against whom? Well, against the United States, for one. And instead of investigating that, people are investigating the votes in Georgia, in Fulton County, even if they discovered that, well, it's really turned out President Trump won the state of Georgia. He won Fulton County, and which he didn't, and he won the state of Georgia. And even if all of that happened, and Georgia were sent over to the Trump column in 2020, Trump still would have lost. There were 3 different states that had to be overturned. And yes, Georgia was close. It was 11,000 and some votes, but it wasn't particularly close. It wasn't unprecedented. And the idea that this is going to now be a law enforcement priority, unreal. There is also not going to be a relitigation of one of the controversies of the morning. CNN is reporting that FIFA, the international soccer organization, has denied Belgium's appeal to overturn a decision on U.S. striker Folarin Balogun and his red card. He got a red card which would have made him ineligible, unavailable to play in tonight's World Cup match between Belgium and the United States. But President Trump got directly involved, and this is something that a lot of people can give him credit for, with the nation mobilizing in behalf of our very popular American men's team. Here was President Trump this morning talking about his fateful FIFA call. Clip one.
I did. I spoke to Johnny, who's highly respected, who's produced the most successful World Cup in history by, they say, 4 times. This isn't just a success. I actually said, Johnny, we've got all these games. Each one is turning out to be a Super Bowl. And we have all these games. You know, when you think of it, every game is like a Super Bowl. Yes, I watched last night. What a game that was with Mexico and England. I mean, 2 countries, I don't know the players, although I think Kane is a great player. See, I played golf with him, and I like him a lot. He's a good golfer. But he's really great. But I watched, and no reason for me to watch, and you couldn't take your eyes off the game. Because I said, Johnny, you know, you have all these games, because they added games. In a country where really it's not our main sport, to put it mildly. And this has been 4 times more successful. He told me last night the numbers are 4 times greater. They think 50 or 60 million people are going to be watching the game tonight. I mean, you know, this is getting to be Super Bowl numbers. But you have a game tonight, and they think they're projecting a minimum of 50 million people watching a game. We call it soccer. It's called football, I guess, but we can't really call it football because it gets there's a little confusion. So, yeah, you call it soccer. We're the only ones that do that, but we have football. And football's great. But I've never seen anything like it. So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete.
Okay, President Trump did not have a spectacular athletic career, even in high school. He was not an athletic star. Apparently, he's a good golfer, and when he's talking about Johnny, he's really speaking about Gianni Infantino, who is the head of FIFA, of the international soccer organizations, who deserves some of the credit Trump was giving him for having staged so far what is a phenomenally successful World Cup competition. There is more for Trump bragging about bringing the World Cup to the United States. It's actually not just in the United States, but all over our country it is for one place, one locale. But he also has blame for his predecessors not getting the World Cup. Okay, who is he going to blame in particular? We will get to that. Coming right up on the Medved Show. And from the world of football, well, it's what the rest of the world calls football. We still call football here Seattle Seahawks. It's different. The source familiar with the matter and familiar with FIFA told CNN that Trump had spoken with the FIFA president Gianni Infantino this week. And the news that the 25-year-old forward, whose name is Folarin Balogun, would no longer serve an automatic 1-match suspension following a straight red card during the U.S. Team's 2-0 round victory in the round of 32. The U.S. beat Herzegovina and Bosnia. That came as a shock. Well, not that the U.S. won that match, but that they won this argument about the 1-game suspension that would have made Folarin Balogun ineligible to play in the all-important match tonight against Belgium. This is in the round of 16. For days, the U.S. and its fans had operated under the assumption that there was no mechanism for the young striker, he's 25 years old, to have his suspension erased. Then came a report in The Athletic, followed by an official statement from FIFA that reprieve had been granted. Hallelujah! The International Governing Board's disciplinary committee elected to utilize Article 27 of its code, which allows the judicial body to fully or partially suspend the implementation of an on-pitch disciplinary measure under a probationary period. Okay, this is all very complicated, but the result is he's going to play tonight. There is precedent for such a move, CNN reports, but not under extraordinary circumstances such as this. Balogun was sent off in the 64th minute following a VAR review for a challenge that he had stepped, Balogun, on the ankle of Bosnian defender Tariq Muharamovic, an offense that is classified under serious foul play. It was an offense that would have seen Balogun miss tonight's match, before FIFA's intervention. Now the one-match ban is suspended, according to the committee, for a probationary period of 1 year. So all the future matches, as long as nothing else happens, will allow him to continue to play. And President Trump bragged then about his involvement not only in ending the suspension of Folarin Balogun, but he also bragged about getting the World Cup to come to the United States in the first place. This is President Trump this morning, clip 2.
I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot when you're going, no, these were two great athletes that got tangled up. And this referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past, I don't want to say that because I don't like to create controversy.
Oh, no.
But very suspect. If you'd like, I'll provide you with the past. He made a call that nobody could believe. You know, even people on the other side, they say, oh, we got lucky. Wow, and it's very interesting. They say they don't show them in slow motion. And I never realized that. I never heard of that before. That they're not allowed to review in slow motion because it's so different. Because you'll take one little quarter of a second and you'll see that a hand is touching a neck or you'll see something. Whereas when you see it in fast motion, it will look like two guys collided, which is really what happened. They got sort of entangled. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair. But when they take your best player or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game. But how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So,
okay, they could do that, and they did do it, and then Trump got it overturned. And he also had some more blame, not just for the referee, who had a very suspect past, according to the President of the United States, but he also knew who to blame for the fact that we had not gotten, before Trump came in, the World Cup and the Olympics in the same year. This is President Trump affixing blame on his favorite target. Clip 3.
Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I spoke to a man who's highly respected, and by the way, whose level of respect has gone up tenfold. And he was good before this started, but, he really pushed it in this country. I'm the one that got them to do it. It was not Biden. Biden was asleep. I got him to do it. In fact, it was very sad because I got him to do it. And if the progression was normal, I would have been retired. Now, the Democrats are saying, man, we should have just let him have his way. We would have had him gone. But I said, the saddest thing is I got the Olympics and I got the World Cup. I tried to claim 250 years too, but that didn't work. They said, that one is what it is. No, I tried, but it didn't work. But wait. So I got him. I was so proud of it. And then I realized, I wouldn't be president during that because I would have been out of office by that time. I felt badly. The beautiful thing about what I did is I ran. I never thought of it. And then all of a sudden I realized, I just got the Olympics and I totally got that myself. And I just got FIFA. I got that myself. We gave a little piece to Canada, gave a little piece to Mexico. I got that myself.
Okay, I got that myself. By the way, there is more revolving the Biden family. Remember Hunter Biden, somebody who really is suspect in the past. Hunter Biden, coming up, had unleashed a scorched earth rant about Trump's corruption. When this comes from Hunter Biden, who has his own problems and doubts about corruption. Well, actually, yesterday, he issued a statement against the entire Trump family. We will share that with you. I'm not sure it's going to, considering the source, either surprise or upset the president too intensely. We will be on the Medved Show right back.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
And on the Michael Medved Show, I never expected to see Hunter Biden's name in a major headline about an attack on some other political figure for double dealing, for a lack of ethics and a lack of regulation in terms of financial behavior. I mean, Hunter Biden has a lot of problems, a lot of questions about his situation, which, by the way, we'll probably never explore because he received a preemptive pardon from his father. But Hunter Biden, according to a story in Raw Story, stunned political analysts yesterday with a scorched earth rant about the Trump family corruption. Last week, the New York Times reported that the Trumps had made more than $2.4 billion during their first year in office, a figure that shocked ethics experts. The Trump family is also positioned to reap financial windfalls from a lucrative mining deal in Kazakhstan, home of Borat. Remember him? Yeah, really. The Kazakhstan deal, there's also a gun deal that has benefited by government actions by President Donald Trump's administration. That in addition to the mining deal in Kazakhstan. Hunter Biden took the Trumps to task in a lengthy social media post that caught many political analysts off guard. Quote, 250 years ago, wrote Hunter Biden, we declared independence from a king who ran the colonies as a family business. In just 18 months, the Trumps have made King George look like an amateur. That's not fair to King George. He was a pro, and the grandson of the previous king, that King George II was actually not George III's father. It was his grandfather. But in any event, Biden listed a slew of suspicious deals the Trump family is involved in. And boy, it takes one to know one in terms of Hunter Biden and isolating these deals. They included an Air Force drone company that Don Jr. and Eric Trump took public through a golf course company they own, and the Saudi Arabian money that seeded Jared Kushner's hedge fund when he left the first Trump administration. For 6 years, they asked, "Where's Hunter? What about the laptop?" Wrong questions, Hunter Biden wrote. The right question is 250 years old. Does America belong to a family? They've given their answer. Long live the king. Biden's rant left many onlookers taken aback. Scorch him, Hunter, said Ameshia Cross, a Democratic strategist, commenting on X. Hunter Biden complaining about high-dollar corruption from the consultant sons of prominent politicians wasn't up there on my expected checklist for today or ever. That's what Professor Wilfred Riley, who's been a frequent guest on this radio show, he's an associate professor of political science at Kentucky State University and a prominent conservative. He posted the shock on X. Mehdi Hassan, who is founder of Zetio News, posted on X, rather good summary of Don Jr.'s corruption from Hunter Biden, which is not a sentence I ever imagined typing even 2 years ago. So said Mehdi Hassan. And then Dr. Mohammed Rahimi also said, government of Trump for Trump. This is corruption, chaos, and lawlessness. And he is a Mohammed Rahimi, a Democratic Union organizer, posted on X. And speaking of union organizers and other leading Democrats, there is an indication that President Trump is claiming there is simply no connection between the traditional Democratic Party and this Democratic Party. And he's taking off against this Democratic Party as representing not just socialism, which is bad enough, but communism. We will get to that. Mr. Trump is scheduled to leave the country today for a NATO summit in Turkey. This amid fraying ties between the United States and other members of the alliance. Mr. Trump has threatened to reduce the U.S. role in NATO and accused allies of disloyalty for not supporting America's war on Iran. There was also a news story that seems to have dropped from sight about fears that Russia was planning an attack on Poland. And why? To test the commitment of NATO, to try to expose NATO as a paper tiger that really could not stick together or hold together in the face of, what would be a huge, huge threat to everything decent if they tried to do the same thing to Poland that they had tried to do to Ukraine, because like Ukraine, Poland used to be part of the old Russian Empire. Yeah, that's right. In any event, the new would-be Russian empire, Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, Kyiv came under a deadly Russian attack early today that killed at least 15 people and wounded dozens more, city officials said. Presumably, the killed and wounded are almost entirely civilians. The strikes came before a NATO summit in Turkey, where President Trump is expected to meet with the Ukrainian leader, Volodymyr Zelensky. And meanwhile, there is a shocking story about what the U.S. knows and didn't know about the 250th anniversary. What does that anniversary celebrate? It's not what kind of thing, it's what event does it celebrate. We will get to that story and what it means. It's a new national survey from the Cato Institute. And it is amazing when you hear about it, how few Americans actually understand that we were celebrating the birth of the United States, the Declaration of Independence. One of the interesting things is President Trump was asked over the weekend leading up to the 4th of July celebrations. He was asked, okay, what does the Declaration of Independence, Mr. President, mean to you? And President Trump said, it means unity and love. It's a statement of unity and love. And there's a columnist for the New York Times named Robin Givhan, who actually worked for many years for the Washington Post. She makes the point that this is completely wrong. The Declaration of Independence was not a statement of love and unity. In fact, it was the most famous and celebrated and eloquent separation document of all time. It's not a declaration of love, it's a declaration of divorce. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to celebrate, to end the bonds which have connected them with another, that's more the idea. But we will get to that and much more, because it created this greatest nation on God's green earth.